Alright, here we are with the first standalone replay cast on this new patch that we had a week ago with new DLC, and on the map here of the Decrepit Moor we have Bretonnia in the forest waiting with a big peasant swarm army, and I want to go. With a big peasant swarm army, Lifecaster, Regrowth, Dwellers of the Below, newly buffed spell, and still a bit in the phase of figuring it out, though its damage apparently is massively increased, and a Nurse Blood. King Luan was the Sword of Kurong, reducing armor, melee defense for quite a long while, and infinite uses with just cooldown. Lion Shield to not get shot. Healing, this is healing, this is damage resistance, and terror, and the usual stuff. A Peasant Swarm, there's not much to comment here. Men-at-Arms, Peasant Bowman, and 2 Grey Relics to provide ATP and leadership and melee attack, and some more of them. Going for all the points, or 2 points straight, and some flanking stuff it seems. On the other side we have Cathay with a Grand Cannon to hammer down, well, single entities, expensive cavalry, maybe the Grey Relics, though they're not that big target and rather cheap. Albert, Jade Warriors, Yuan Bow with a net. Always nice to have it against cavalry, especially if you have big shooting in behind. Shem's Burning Gaze, newly buffed missile spells. Now the projectiles spread out a bit more, though with some missile spells are now really overtuned into infantry, but with Sham's Burning Gaze that didn't appear to be the case yet in my experience. The execution ability, Transformation of Dragon, Spell Mastery not effective. What is this? Oh, an ITP aura. I didn't even know he had that. Interesting. So both sides have a lot of ITP auras. And, well, of course, his combat stats. Though anti-infantry focused, just a small bit though. And then, last but not least, Saitang, the Watcher, with the wind bow. Probably could half delete a cavalry unit with this. Also, this is a magic missile spell, and singular missiles fan out now with the last update, so with 6 projectiles it might be even stronger than before. And watched by the Watcher, I think he gets it for free, because bringing it right now really wouldn't be useful. Bretonnia is not a stock army, and the forests here are not that important what lurks in there. Yeah, besides that, Saitang basically the same duty as the cannons, which here already start shooting in a bit of a weird angle, but going through the trees, nah, not completely. So both sides really early moving out. And Bretonnia, you have quite an elevation here, and then the forest, so even the flying units can hide properly from the cannons. And besides those two, there isn't really that much that is worth shooting. That maybe the Grey Relics, but they are, you can see that here, quite hard to hit. They aren't that big. They are like almost like a single cavalry model, and Precision is good here, but not that good. If it moves and is a bit enveloped in other stuff. Okay. King Lewin getting daring here, and the damsel, which noticed that this would be a bit suicidally brave here. Oh no, she was to cast the dwellers below on the Grand Cannon. And here I'm very curious. Let me slow down for a moment to talk about it. There's something happened here, and I don't know if it was due to the spell changes of the dwellers below or due to a misuse of the Cathay player here. Cathay and Grand Cannons and also their Fire Rain rockets don't get hit by regular breath and vortex spells that are placed on them. Or they get hit, but only the cannon models and not the crews standing in behind. This is part of a different behavior set that, amongst others, causes that if they get compromised in melee, the Grand Cannon models itself die really, really quickly compared to others, where they get more ignored, but it makes them more or less immune to spells or to a lot of types of spells. Now I don't know here if they got a lot of damage, if that is due to the spell changes of the dwellers below, now no longer mainly a vortex, but some weird explosion, bombardment, whatever type. If it affects them now, or if the Cathay player actually dismounted the crew, because at that moment, what I mentioned before, that they don't get affected, changes. Then they get affected like any regular infantry would. So, I don't know which one of those this was. I might have to look again at it. Or just regular test it. Oh, netted right in front of a cannon that Iron held. Now that's not a nice place to be. Luckily he has his shield of the lion's shield, and that basically neglected most of the damage coming through here. He has 55% resistance against method there. Still, you can see he dropped half health. Not a good thing, but he has regeneration and healing up, so not really a bigger consequence. He needs to be careful now though. So, finally we have some Bretonnian heavy cavalry coming out, and also on the other side for a double flanking maneuver, trying to aim for the guns, which are actually already in big trouble because they get outranged by the peasant archers. One of the most devastating unit on Bretonnia roster, peasant archers. Ooh, no, let's keep it running. We had the wind bow into Knights of the Realm and in lance formation, and that was 50% HP straight. That, yeah, I see. That's really strong. The Grey Knights here got into the back of Jade Halberd warriors. Those are halberds, which are good against cavalry, but Jades, if they just track them on the charge, it doesn't matter what they just attacked. Satan actually getting quite a bit of damage from the peasant archers, it seems, which is really weird. They have, like, yeah, 15% AP damage, which is not a lot. The Knights of the Realm here got almost dead Grand Cannon. Since the crew survived, the dwellers casted upon them was basically wasted still. It made it a bit easier now that the cavalry could get them. But as you can see, I think a lot of the cannon models got actually destroyed by the cavalry instead of killing the crew. And if the cannons are destroyed, no coming back from routing, no healing, nothing can make them worthwhile again. Knights of the Realm coming back a second time, also some mounted yeomen. I'm not sure what they're trying to still dive here, the cannons were gone, but yeah, they opened themselves a bit up to the Rageous Lancers, so it was mainly just the mass of different stuff. A second wind bow into the damsel. Half-life, you could say that is not bad, but at this moment it was really inconsequential. So damsel doesn't care, she casted a regrowth maybe onto herself. If Sighting now had the time to follow up on this and kill the caster, it might have been good, strong, but currently not really. And yeah, you see Cathay getting really overrun. I talked with the player here and he thinks this matchup is really favored for Bretonnia if they come with a peasant opening, since Cathay has to invest so much into anti-cavalry technology that they're really open to the peasant swarming. Here, Saitang is getting the caster. I'm curious if he can manage to finish the job, but I'm not sure if it was it. Now she might, yes, she should shatter now with minus 55 for some second. Now she rallied to just routing. Maybe another shot is coming if the Righteous Lance is done blocking. Yeah, she's gone. But King Luan is healing. King Luan is almost on heal cap due to his regeneration. The Grail Knights no longer get healing, but you see the damage here. Those spears have expert charge defense, but they weren't braced, so it didn't activate and they got completely deleted. Now the Iron Helds are also. Bracing is a process of several seconds, but it starts the moment a unit is no longer moving, and also has some effect then, it seems. So if you get charged by cavalry and just hit the halt command on a unit that is moving, and even if it's distributed, it's some effect of betterment. Oh, here we really saw the wind bow spreading out. I guess it was targeted at the Grail Knights here, but it got in a real fan and hit many different models here, even though they were distributed. Of course, not as strong as when they would come in a lance formation and each projectile can pierce through multiple models. Bretonnian point lead is getting devastating. Yeah, not that much to comment here. We get a Jade Lion, so the one with the fire breath, which probably is decent against peasants, but the rest of his kit isn't really interesting, doesn't even have Terra, though Terra is slowly, the reliquaries are dying. I think one apparently is already down, the other one almost, but they had a large part here had ITP, immune to psychology, until for a long time. Okay, the Cathay player accepts the defeat. There was no coming back. There's ever increasing horde of heavy cavalry and reinforcing the points lead. And Cathay is really struggling to come back from being pushed like this. They don't really have a lot of infantry clear and are outclassed on the cavalry front here. So if they don't get their guns, which against a mobility disadvantage is hard, yeah, problematic. With other matchups like Wood Elves or Empire, my first thought was always how to counter the Bretonnian peasant archers, because if I don't remove them and they can completely fire free, they will rip you apart. Like, they weren't super strong here since I was shooting at armor, but they were denying, for example, the Iron Hell gunners, which are important to deal with cavalry. So as long as the peasants are on the field, they are a menace and zone control a lot of your tools and disturb you. So my first thought against Bretonnia actually isn't completely how to counter the cavalry, but to counter the peasant archers. Because diving them is impossible usually, because Bretonnian cavalry will rip you apart when you try that, because they are better cavalry than your own. The Righteous Lancers, yeah, they came out late and didn't really find a home. Were overwhelmed then. I guess this was the one that could shoot at the netted Luren, which is good, but yeah, it was inconsequential since he just regenerated up. Thaitang, he did work, and though two of his windbow shots were kinda weird into targets, the one that hit the cavalry, the Knights of the Realm, though, was supreme. That was really strong. Yunbo, I don't know, he was fighting against Luren, and both sides didn't really get a lot out of it. It was weird. Nets are usually good, but I don't know if he can cast a net if he's in dragon form, and if he's not in dragon form, he has a very small radius of action. Cast a 460 value. I guess that's from the dwellers into the cannons, though that doesn't really check out. Weird things happen with the cannons. I will test it, what's the verdict on dwellers on Cathay cannons, and write it into the comment or description of the video. Yeah, not super much else to say here. Grail Knights ruling. And yeah, the Cathay build was kinda more suited to counter a cavalry rush and an early taking the points, and was really not tagged against a peasant swarm. I don't know how well Cathay can do that, but they probably could improve this focus into fighting more infantry or deleting more infantry, with spells especially. And yeah, with that I close this video here and see you in the next one.